How to build a brand new social life that's fulfilling and rich with great personal relationships, great group belonging, find your tribe. How to build awesome social life from scratch, from nothing. Welcome in, fam. Much love, Trav here. Maybe you've moved or you're moving to a new place. You don't know that many people. Maybe you moved for college. Maybe you moved for work. Maybe you moved just to move. Or maybe you're not fully satisfied with your current social life. The wrong people or not enough people, or it's not enough novelty, not interesting enough. Welcome in. I've got really, to me and to you, I think this is going to be great advice that's going to be worth gold and is really going to help you. I have a lot of experience with this. You know, moved into a new environment for college, moved to Spain and England, moved to California, moved to Hawaii. I've moved back to Seattle for a moment in there. I've transplanted a bunch of times, and I've learned a lot that I'm gonna share with you of how to have build an awesome new social life quickly, which is really, really important to happiness, because like transplanting a plant, our roots are our social connections. We're very social people, so we'll get into that, what that means. But I have the experience, although I didn't know, if someone had told me this when I went to college, I would have had much better time. You know, it took me a while to find this stuff out. I had to experiment. I studied and listened to some people, but there just wasn't the right sort of content like this video. So the first thing that you should understand when you're starting a new social life, or for your social life, is just how humans work, which is we're very group-oriented, we're tribe-oriented, we're organization-oriented. So when you're starting off, you should forget about interpersonal, like one-on-one relationships, and start off working on building group and group belonging. So this is where a lot of people get it wrong. If you just like go out on the street and talk to people one-on-one, it's very uncomfortable. It's pretty unnatural and weird. You know, you can try to get it going from just going to bars or going on Tinder, but this is the wrong approach, because that's like trying to start one-on-one. It can work, but it's not going to satisfy you as much as getting into groups, and groups are going to make it a lot easier to meet interesting people who you have similar interests with. And this goes for having friends. We're talking about guy-to-guy friends. I think that's a special thing. I don't know too much about girl-to-girl friends. We'll talk about romance a little bit too, but you want to start off with groups. So for groups, the best thing to do, if you have one app that I would recommend, it would be Facebook events near me. So like you have the weekend off, go to Facebook events near me, go through all the events, try to find something that fits for you. And I'll back up a little bit. There's that app. I also would suggest meetups for that. But you can also just start off going to interest groups of things you're already interested in. If you are although there's certain types of meetups we're going to get into, group meetups that are going to work better. But like, you know, when I'm a Magic the Gathering player, I like to play cards. So I will go to the card shop right away and make friends quickly, get paired and play against people. Although it's all dudes, so, you know, that mostly it is what it is. But it's a good way to get going for make friends. I can do the same thing with like pick up soccer or pick up basketball and stuff like that. And it's not necessarily the most friendly thing, but it is a way to make friends, especially guy-to-guy friends, because one of the ways that we make friends, well, one thing to think about is like we see strangers as threats. Humans see strangers as threats when we were growing up in tribes back in the day, our older brains. So that's one of the reasons why once you're part of an organization, you're in the organization, you have easy access to all the people in the organization, and you can connect on organizations to meet other people. So you're jumping into, you know, it's not going to work quite as well going to interest groups like this, like playing Magic or playing basketball. It will help. It's something to do with, especially with guy friends though, because one of the things that's important about making guy friends is competition and going through risk together. Like going out and surfing with someone draws you close because of the physical risk, element of danger. That sort of thing's important for men, not as important for romance or for, you know, just kind of, or, you know, girlfriends. So to start off, you're going to go to, you already know what you're interested in. You're also going to go to Facebook events, and you're going to go to meetups and look for things in your area that are interesting to you, that it's either a weekly event or a monthly event or a one-time thing. And then you're going to go to that event, and you're going to start off by going alone. And that's scary for some people. You just have to get over that. It's really important that it's not scary once you have the right strategy, because you're not going to do any weird, creepy shit, which we'll talk about. It'd be really easy. You just set your goal when you show up to figure out the next event that you can go to. So figure out if the organization has more recurring events, and introduce yourself to anyone who seems interesting. Explain why you're there, and that you're new to the area or whatever, you're new to the thing. And it's very unthreatening because you're there as part of the group. And you can do book clubs, you can do all sorts of things. My strongest recommendation is volunteering, though. Something about volunteering, you have passionate people together, often young people who are looking to meet each other, and it's free, and it's work, and you get to work with each other. So that kind of, builds camaraderie. It can build attraction. It can build sense of team feeling. And it is a way for people to demonstrate and observe character within the group. So you go to events like this. What's worked well for me is like drop-in volunteer at gardens, like community gardens. You can do that in urban areas or non-urban areas, towns. Drop in at farms, volunteer at farms is a good way. You can meet farmers, and especially if it's young people. You can also go to drop-in volunteer at, maybe there's some organizations like in Hawaii, there's a bunch of cleanups, Blue Zones and Surf Rider, and lots of volunteer stuff. So you start going to that, and then you start to see the same people, and over time you'll become, you want to pick an organization as well. It can be your work, or it could be one of these volunteer things that you can go a little bit further in and participate and become a member of, not just a guest. Because once you're a member, it's going to be a lot easier for you to work on the more interpersonal one-on-one relationships, which we'll talk about in a second. But I'll give you some more examples of sorts of events to go to. Festivals are fine, really unthreatening. You can go around to every booth and talk to everyone that way. It was really easy. You just walk into the tent and people start talking to you. Very, very easy that way. So let's talk about how to basically build relationships from here one-on-one. So my recommendation is become part of a member of a group that has volunteer or something like that. Mine is this Kahumana Farm. We have volunteer days and a cafe and stuff like that. So because you meet people who are interesting to you, you want to exchange information, get their Facebook. Also recommend Instagram is good. A lot of people are on Instagram, a lot of young people, and a lot of organizations. And at first, you're not even getting people's necessarily personal social media, but their org social media, like, it's like networking, but you're going to connect what you're doing. So it's a little, you can do this. It's a little bit scarier, and it's a little bit more threatening. It's like, okay, this person's interesting. I want to invite them out to, like, I don't know, go to eat some food, or go to dinner, or go on a hike. That's like you don't have mutuals necessarily because you're starting your social life from scratch. It's a little bit more threatening to ask out on a date. You can do it, but it's way easier and less threatening if it's like, yo, we do volunteer days, or we have events at my organization, and we love to have people like you. You should come out. Here's the times. You get my info. You can also take the info of the organization. Hope to see you out there. That's really unthreatening because it's connecting the groups, and you're leveraging the group. You're in with this group. You're in with that group. The human brain works that way. You're okay because you're in the tribe, and then maybe they come out, maybe they don't, or if not, then you see them at other events, right? Because you're making it a habit of figuring out what the next event is that you're going to. And from there, you have your relationships, you have friends, you have people you see regularly, you have your tribe, you have your organization, and then the one-on-one's going to rise more naturally out of that. and you can do what you want with it. So I think that's really, really helpful, and you'll get a lot of mileage out of that. For me, I didn't know that. So when I went to college, I didn't really join too many groups. I just played a lot of pickup basketball and Magic, and I made friends that way. But I definitely didn't meet as many people as I would have liked. And if I could go back, I would have been going to more organizations and definitely gone to some volunteer stuff that I didn't do. And then in Europe, I really didn't do any of that. I made it a little bit easier, like used basketball, used Magic still, especially in England. Started living in a more interesting place, which that's kind of a different discussion. I was living in a surf hostel, surf lodge, and met people that way. It wasn't until I moved to California that I really started like, okay, let's go to these volunteer events. Let's go to wrestling classes. Let's go to dance lessons. Let's go to try to go to everything. And I found the volunteer days work really well. And then now that I've moved out to Hawaii, have the strategy down. Really easy, awesome, meeting tons of people that I'm interested in who are interested in me, and we're interested in the same sorts of stuff, same interests and organizations, and it's easy to see them because we'll go to the same events. So took a little while to get going, but it's worth doing, and it's a lot of fun. And also, one thing about going to events like these and meeting new people, even if you're introverted or feel that you're introverted, you need a certain amount of novelty, because depending on your work, it might be very repetitive. A lot of work situations are. And the weekend can break that up by going to events like this. And you can be an introvert in the week and then indulge your extrovert during the weekend. So hope you find that useful. Let me know what you think. If you moved to a new place, share where it is, why you moved, what your situation is, what your plan is, how you're going to rebuild your social life and make friends and build relationships and be a part of groups and events and so on. So hope you find that useful. Look forward to hearing what you have to say in the comments down below. Peace out, fam. Much love.